Hello, it would be nicer if you have your fleet filled with ship of the line fighting ships, but most of the times when you play naval battles in campaign, you wouldn't be having those fancy fleets. Right now I have two flutes, one brig, which is a fast ship, and the rest of them are Indiamen, which cannot really fight for shit. So I'm gonna show you how to maximize your advantage with this fleet. There we go. I'm fighting a pirate fleet. They have one flute, brig, sloops, brig, mostly the slow ships. Now, if you're playing in Netherlands or Spanish faction, your trade ships, Spanish will be galleon. If you're playing Netherlands, it'll be flute. If you open them up in database, they actually have decent armor, which is very at the similar level as the third-rate ship of the line, which is the regular ship of the line. So one of the things about these guys is that they're not very fast, they're quite slow, and not gonna really catch up to the enemy to get into combat, but they can take some hit, and they can also hit hard because they have some decent amount of guns. So one of the problem that I see with the Napoleon Total War, Empire Total War, is that smaller ships cannot really benefit much, because even if you're a combat ship, small ships like this one, brig here, it doesn't really have that much of advantage over trade ships like this one, especially flute and galleon. It is just better to have, if you want to have a faster ship, it is just better to bring in some heavy frigates such as American 24 pounder or 5th rate. So the fleet is moving in. Right now you can see that the pirate fleet is at upwind. They are moving with wind to their favor, and we are going against the wind right now, so we are at disadvantage. By the time they arrive, we wouldn't be fast enough. Our original plan was to move my fleet towards this direction, forming a firing arc here, but as of now, as you can see, we are moving against the wind right now, so it is not gonna happen so fast. So I'm gonna set up a firing arc around here against the original plan going towards here. Alright, one of the benefits about having a two line against the single line is that the second line, the one behind, can shoot behind the gaps of the line in front of them and shoot the enemy. So that's what we're trying to do. If this pirate ship right here circle around, yeah, if this pirate ship here detour around this part, then you'll be able to pour some firepower onto our friendly ships, while our friendly ships cannot pour fire onto him. But it is better this way because this guy is hitting the front side of our ships, which is quite not very ideal if you want to pour fire onto them. So I'm not really that worried. And while I was being worried about that frontal part, the enemy fleet is approaching through this direction. They're gonna try to get mingled up around here, which is where my weaker ships, Indiamens, are located. Unlike the flute and galleon, Indiamen are quite brittle to say the least. They don't have much gun and they don't have much armor at the same time, so try to protect them at all costs. As you can see, these guys have local superiority against the ships in our rear end of the line. These are mostly Indiamen, so they're gonna struggle a lot against these guys. Original plan was to move these guys over to this line here, try to pour fire onto them, but right now that is going against the wind, so which wouldn't be very ideal, so I'm pulling back. But at the same time, as I'm pulling back, I'm exposing my rear end of our ships to the enemy for them to take fire at them freely. So I have to move fast or be careful. Yeah, we got one down. This is a reason why you should lighter ships don't really work that sorry. This is why the sloop, brig, or those lighter ships doesn't really count for much in Empire Total War or naval battle. They are fast, but getting into position to exploit that maneuver, higher maneuver, is very hard. Now this right here is the enemy flagship, which is also flute, fighting against our Indiaman here. Indiaman has no chance of winning, so I'm pulling back, but pulling back this direction would have ended up taking the broadside barrage in the rear end of the ship, so I took the barrage from the side and now I'm pulling back. But he's gonna reload fast, so I have to do it fast. See how brittle the brigs are? If you got money, don't bring brigs or sloops. Just bring fifth rate, maybe carronade frigates. And if you've got some tech advantage, bring Razy or 24 pounder or Constitution, which is American. If you want to utilize the smaller ships, this right here is doing a very good job coming around in the back. If this was a multiplayer and this guy was controlled by user, he would stop whole fire, come to this point. Right now, this ship's rear end is now exposed. Now, if we opens fire right now, he will take advantage of his maneuver. But it's quite much of too much control, micromanaging. But as I said, small ships are really brittle, so even if they manage to flank around and get in a position where they could take advantage of that maneuver, they're too brittle to hold against the enemy ships in real combat. If I kept this ship moving forward and kept this ship moving this direction, they would have collided and it would mangled up, cannot move for shit. Okay, this is the last enemy ship that really counts. It's a flute, and it's where the enemy admiral is at. This right here is sloop. As I said, small ships doesn't really count that much for compatibility. These two Indian men of mine would easily take him out. Sorry. Oh, I was thinking. Now, this is probably the only time smaller ships could shine, chasing the fleeing enemy fleets. Okay, so this ship was very slow, unlike the other ones, because it has lost one of its main masts. We will eventually catch up around here at the end of the battle map. So this ship might... Oh yeah, he has recovered his guts, strength, and trying to fight back. Now, small ships cannot fight for shit. I don't want to take the broadside from this guy, so I'm gonna let them stand by around here. Make sure the enemy ship is focus firing on our main battleships. Right now it's trade ship, but they're the most sturdy ships in my fleet I got right now. So like this, right now its rear end is exposed. So that's where the smaller ships can benefit from. Surrender. Oh, and if you're playing Netherlands, United Province, it's better to be very good at capturing the enemy ships, because it's extra. income you can get, unlike the other factions. So that's how you utilize your merchant fleet against the enemy fleets.